I'm Teresa from Phoenix Gate Crafts, and today we are talking about the yarn that I used and a little bit that I bought in August of 2024. So first thing to note is I actually got a better system of recording what I did. It is so much neater. This is July, but I have it for August, so if you want a quick preview, there you go. A little bit of what I've gotten so far this month, which is not much. So let's start with what I actually made, because once I make it, it's counted as used. So first thing I did was my crochet along shrug, which I think turned out absolutely drop dead gorgeous. This is it. The first video of the crochet along and the first video of the knit along both dropped on Tuesday. Those are coming out on Tuesday, and whether or not you're following those or doing anything with them, Friday's videos are different, clearly, but this is what I wound up making. And I filmed the crochet along first, and if you watch those videos, just know I was figuring out a new setup with camera and everything, and I sucked at it. And this did not go smoothly, because, you know, it was the second time I made it, but the first time I made the first crochet along, and you know, I had this genius thought process when I was making the first one, which is this is turning out a little bit small. If I just size up the yarn to a size 4 and size up the hook appropriately, it'll work out perfectly. 100 grams is 100 grams, right? And that is true. 100 grams is 100 grams regardless of whether it's rocks, feathers, or yarn. But yardage is different, which is why I have a more accurate representation of the amount of yarn needed, which is closer to like 100 grams for the center bit, and then 150 grams for each subsequent section, except you need 200 grams for the final section, which I wound up not having nearly enough. So I wound up having to actually purchase an additional 2 balls of Caron Simply Soft, because I wasn't sure if 1 ball was going to be enough. Shocked the heck out of my husband. We go over the finances every month, and when he saw that there were 2 separate purchases for Caron Simply Soft that were exactly the same, he thought I got charged twice, and I had to explain, no. I bought it and then thought maybe I need another one, and then got another one. And here's the thing, Caron Simply Soft, I always kind of assume like Caron and Bernat and all those, I always thought that they were like 100 gram balls, but actually most of them are like 5 ounces or 7 ounces or something. Caron Simply Soft is actually like 130 grams of yarn. So like, who knew? I didn't. I never looked at that. Didn't really care. It wound up absolutely gorgeous. And just as you know, I purchased a dress too, like a black dress, because I felt I needed one. And it looks good on me too. And with this, and I added a button, which I didn't do for the crochet along. I just did it as a, this is what I think I'm gonna do with it now that I've made it. But yeah, I added a little button so I can put it on and I don't have to hold it closed. And it is still a little small because 100 grams on this purple, it's week 3, which hasn't come out yet. You're supposed to do this like 2 more times, and I had, even with switching the stitches, there's a way to do it so you use your yarn goes farther. Even that wasn't enough, and what I really should have done was undone the whole thing and just switched to half double crochets instead of double crochets. I could have gotten that little bit, I think, but I didn't do that. Didn't think about it until after I'd finished sections 4 and 5 and wasn't going to go back after those. So yeah, it wound up a bit small, but don't worry, the recommended yarn amounts will be perfectly fine in worsted weight. We're good. But this is how I figured that out. And I really love just the colors. They're so pretty. My color palette. So anyway, this wound up being 602 grams of yarn exactly, including the button. Now the next thing I did, I don't remember if I have a picture. I'll throw one up if I do. There might be a 404 notice right here, in which case I didn't find it, but I did a little swatch of the finished stitch for the cowl so I could show sewing it up with the mattress stitch, because you know that one has black around the edge and that's kind of hard to see. And something as detailed as that, where you're teaching someone how to do something, really needs to be visible. So I made a little 2 swatches that I wound up sewing together for the video, and I'm counting that because it's used and I'm not undoing it and adding those little bits of yarn back into my stash. So that was 11 grams, including the yarn I used to sew it up. Now, the next thing is I made more garment bags. But, well, they're not the prettiest ones I've ever made, but this is intentional. Because this one in particular used up, no joke, like 4 balls of yarn, just little odds and ends I had left over. I really like this pattern. It's not exactly a pattern. Like, I might write it up and put it on my blog at some point. But I'm not, you know, it's a great scrappy thing. And I noticed that in using these, my bras no longer attach to the other things that I'm washing them with. I know I should hand wash them, but I don't have time for that. I machine wash them on delicate and hang them to dry. So, both worlds. And so I wound up making 2 more. They did just come out of the wash. And this one's a bit small. They're a little scrunched up because cotton does that in the wash. But yep, this one is white with white buttons. This one is total mongrel with also white buttons. And this one is 75 grams. And this one is 52 grams. And used up some stuff. Now, it wouldn't be a month of using up yarn if I didn't make something for my masseuse. And one of the things that happened last month, my masseuse loved the gifts that I gave her. And I wound up wearing a couple of shirts. The last few times I went to get massages, I made them. They were both crochet tops that I wear over a tank top, very much like this one. I'll be talking about this one later, but one of them was the purple Old Country Bridges crochet top that I have a pattern for in my Etsy, link in the description if you'd like to make it. But she liked both of them, and I know from having seen her in the past, she wears crop tops sometimes. I decided I would make her one of these kinds of tops. The other one was the purple, white, and blue one I made. That's a Jada in Stitches crochet top. But I wound up deciding that since I have a pattern of my own, I would make her one that's a pattern of my own. And figuring out her size, I figured this is probably a good time to discuss how you figure out a size for somebody that you can't get measurements for. And the big thing is, you can get approximate measurements by getting their clothing size. So if you get like their shoe size, you can make them socks because they're probably within a half to a quarter inch of whatever that shoe size is in terms of foot length. You can look that up online. And in this case, it was top size. Now here's the thing, this is a very stretchy pattern. So if I'm underestimating how many inches her bust actually is, because something I noticed in doing this research, online bust measurements for clothing sizes are not accurate to what most of them actually fit. Like, I noticed that I wear a 1X usually, and my bust size is consistently 4 inches bigger than any list of size measurements that I see. But extra large consistently fits me properly. So either they're not listing actual bust size or bust size plus ease for garment, which is entirely possible. Or I am consistently wearing something a little small because it fits the rest of me better and things tend to stretch. Could go either way. I'm not entirely sure. You know, it's better if it fits too big because drapey is a thing versus undersized and it just doesn't fit. Something else to discuss with this is I did not have this much yarn of this color. I realized a couple things about myself. I don't buy a lot of red. It's my husband's favorite color, so when I do buy red, I tend to use it really quickly because my husband does love it. So a lot of what I had was like leftover from socks or a little bit that was part of a different project, like my original crochet along sample had some red, but that wasn't enough to make a shirt, and I didn't want to buy more of that yarn in particular. Wasn't feeling the DK weight anyway. So I had this like half ball of I Love This Cotton from Hobby Lobby. So I decided I was going to make this out of that. Now the problem is I only have half a ball, and that is not nearly enough for like a small size, let alone anything in the larger sizes. So I decided to go to Hobby Lobby, and I got 4 100-gram balls of I Love This Cotton in this shade of red. So yeah, that was 400 grams I bought in order to use, and I used probably 2.5 balls of that. And I never wound up using the ball that I was originally going to use on this project. So I used up that extra little bit of that one ball, making her another little bag. I mean, I think I've explained this before. This pattern is up on my blog. I made this so you can hang it up in your shower with like a command hook, and you could put either clean or dirty washcloths in it. I have one hanging outside my shower for clean. I've got one hanging in my shower for used. So I got her another one because her favorite color is red, which is what brought all this out. She likes red, black, and green, but not in a Christmassy way. So now she's going to have a few bright things. The top is 272 grams. The bag is 41 grams. I just realized I switched them in my notes. Now, I not only finished the crochet along, I also finished the knit along shrug. As you already saw, I had previously made one, but this is the one I wound up making. And something that surprised the hell out of me with this one is that this teal and this purple look amazing together. Like, it doesn't look bad on camera, but it looks really good in real life, which is not a color combination I really thought would go together, but it does. This was entirely made of full balls of leftover yarn, and it wound up coming to 403 grams of yarn. I got much better at recording by the time I got to the KAL, the K-A-L, the knitting one. So I'm happy with it. I really like it. It is so stretchy, just like, woo. I like wearing this one a lot in the evenings when it just feels a little chilly. You know, after so much heat, warmer things that felt super hot at the beginning of summer feel cold now. So with that coolness, I feel cold. So having something like this has actually been quite nice in the evenings. And last but not least, this shirt, the one on top, not the underneath one. I don't sew anymore. But this is my Old Country Bridges. This is my pattern again. Ta-da! And I decided to make it long. This yarn, I dyed a long time ago. So this yarn has a bit of a story. So after I first dyed it, so when I first started knitting and crocheting, my bestie got me this pattern book for fantasy stitches, fantasy projects. And they're all knit projects, but it's very medieval slash fairy slash Harry Potter themed projects. So like it's got a mohair cape with a hood and a shrug that has like really long bell sleeves and stuff like that. And one of them is a very Ginny Weasley, Harry Potter inspired vest that looks like stained glass windows. Very Hogwarts. So that's what this was actually dyed for that project. And I wound up casting it on in 2019 before COVID hit. I was losing weight at the time. It was perhaps a bit small, the original size that I did. But as I was actively trying to lose weight at the time, I figured if it doesn't fit well, I'll eventually fit into it. Clearly that never happened because COVID hit, depression, all the joyous stuff. Not to mention that project wound up set aside for a very long time. And, you know, I not only regained the weight, I'm bigger now than I used to be. So I decided finally earlier this year to undo that project, just frog it and reclaim the yarn. The black, of course, got used immediately, but I wound up with 2 balls of this that I didn't know what to do with. So while making the top for my masseuse, I was like, you know what, I really do like this pattern. I've been meaning to make myself a top. I've got a knit top that I started a year ago that I did work on some, but it's taking forever because it's knit. And who knows if I'm going to be able to wear it before the weather turns. And I've got this other top that I've been knitting that I'm not loving. And it's not too far off from this. It's just that yarn, it's silk. It's recycled silk and it's orange, and I'm not in love with any of it. So that's set aside because I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So I decided that once I finished Vanessa's, I'd really work on a top for myself. Well, I think technically I started this one first, thought of Vanessa. Anyway, so I did. I made myself a top that I can put over plain black tank tops, because tank top, and I really like it. It's very pretty. I've gotten compliments on it, and people are always shocked when I tell them that I made it because it looks professionally done. It's not. I mean, I'm a professional in the sense that I've got a YouTube channel, which is only quasi-professional. I'm not even making money off of this, so it's like, is that even professional? I don't know. Where's the line? Anyway, but I've been wearing the heck out of this for the last couple of days. It also makes wearing tank tops a little bit more appropriate when I'm going and tutoring with my students, because at least it gives the illusion I'm covering up my shoulders. So that's everything that I've made. I also got 100 grams of yarn for one of my videos, as in unboxing, from Mountaintop Yarn. That's the other thing that I bought. So in all total, I used 1,611 grams of yarn. In all total, I purchased 840 grams of yarn. Last month, well, July, I'm recording this at the beginning of September, I used 1,405 grams and I purchased 725. So technically both numbers are lower. The net for July was 680 grams, the net usage. This month's net usage is 771 grams. So I'm definitely still, even with purchasing more yarn, I am still using more than my 500 grams a month net that I was aiming for. Well, I kind of forgot to mention something. I'm also doing a giveaway. So this giveaway is because I have finally reached 200 subscribers. As of checking on this Monday, I have 201. So What am I giving away? A big box. Just the box, nothing in it. Just kidding. But I have a bunch of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. There are 3 balls of this color, which is called Sapphire Heather. Plus a little partial ball that's just, what I didn't use for a project. And then 2 in black. Sorry, coal, which is basically black. But not only that, because I've reached 200 subscribers, as a great thank you for your support, I'm also giving away, ignore the little thing, this is a reused bag. I'm giving away a bunch of notions. Now, this is crochet themed. There's crochet hooks in it. That does not mean anything else in here cannot be used by a knitter. So, I'm not telling you everything that's in there, but you can have a bit of a look-see. Some cool stuff. So, I want to thank you so much for supporting me and my channel. And what do you do in order to potentially get a box of stuff? Post a comment down below telling me if you prefer knit, crochet, or another craft. What's your favorite craft and why do you like it? I will randomly choose somebody a week from Monday. Again, thank you very much and happy crafting. Bye.